The American people have both the right and the responsibility to know the truth about unidentified aerial phenomena. NASA officials have just announced that they have successfully decoded transmissions from the interstellar object 3 Atlas. The hidden messages that extraterrestrial intelligence may have been trying to send to humanity are finally becoming clear, and the truth is more shocking than we ever imagined. 3 Atlas is not merely a chunk of cosmic ice and rock. It appears to be reacting to our every observation. Each time our telescopes are pointed in its direction, its trajectory and activity shift in inexplicable ways. What would it truly mean if 3 Atlas were under the control of a non-human intelligence? And what message are they trying to send us? For as long as we've looked up at the stars, we've wondered if someone might be looking back. From giant radio dishes hidden in deserts to telescopes orbiting high above Earth, every generation has tried to send a message into the unknown. The idea was simple. If intelligent life exists out there, maybe they're listening. So we built machines that could speak for us. In the 1960s, scientists beamed radio messages into deep space, containing numbers, symbols, and even simple images of human life, aimed at nearby stars in the hope that someday, somewhere, someone would answer. But nothing ever came back, no reply, no whisper, not even a flicker of recognition in the vast cosmic dark. Then, in 1977, something strange happened. A telescope in Ohio picked up a signal, a sharp, powerful burst that lasted only 72 seconds. It didn't sound like any known star or planet. The scientist on duty circled the printout and wrote one word beside it: wow. That single word captured everything humanity felt at that moment: hope, fear, and the thrill of being noticed. But the signal never repeated, and after years of checking and rechecking, it faded into the same silence we had always known. Since then, Earth has grown quiet. We stopped sending strong radio waves into space. Our planet, once loud with communication, became almost invisible among the stars. If someone was still listening, they would hear nothing now, only the faint hum of a world that had given up trying to speak. For half a century, that silence defined us until the night of July 1st, 2025. In Hawaii, a telescope network known as Atlas spotted a faint moving across the sky. It wasn't just fast, it was impossibly fast. The readings showed a speed of 129,700 miles per hour, far beyond anything held by the sun's gravity. At first, astronomers thought it was just another comet, but this one was different. Its path came from outside the solar system, cutting through our neighborhood for the very first time. They named it 3 Atlas, meaning the third interstellar object ever recorded. No one paid much attention at first, but then the data began to shift. The object grew brighter, even though it was moving farther from the sun, and its orbit changed ever so slightly, as if something inside it was adjusting its course. Telescopes around the world turned toward it: JWST, Hubble, and the Very Large Telescope in Chile, and the more they looked, the stranger it behaved. Each new observation revealed a pattern that didn't fit with any known laws of physics. Its light pulsed, its composition changed, and every time someone studied it, it seemed to react as if it was aware of being watched. For the first time in decades, the silence of the universe didn't feel empty anymore. It felt alive. NASA's report closed with a line that made scientists everywhere pause. Some signals aren't sent through sound or radio, it said. Some reveal themselves through motion. If that's true, then maybe the message we've been waiting for all these years isn't coming through the air. Maybe it's already here, flying right past us, and its name is 3 Atlas. At first, scientists thought 3 Atlas was just another comet passing through our solar system, bright, icy, and fast. Nothing new for astronomy. But then something changed. The more people studied it, the more it seemed to respond. Every time NASA or the European Space Agency released new data about the object, its behavior shifted in ways no one could explain. It was almost as if it was listening. NASA's James Webb Space Telescope first noticed an unusual mix of gases around the object. The ratio of carbon dioxide to water vapor was completely off, 7.66 to 1, far higher than any natural comet ever recorded. At first, researchers believed it was just a coincidence. But right after NASA published their findings, the ExoMars orbiter detected something unexpected. The amount of water vapor around 3 Atlas suddenly increased. The numbers didn't lie. It was as if the object itself had heard us and chosen to respond. The object had read the report and decided to look more normal. For scientists, this was a turning point. It meant 3 Atlas wasn't just reacting to sunlight or gravity. It might be reacting to us. Physicist Miyoku was among the first to propose a bold idea. What if this object was part of a feedback loop? He explained that every time humans analyzed or observed it, 3 Atlas seemed to adjust its chemical and visual signals, almost like it was sending a quiet reply. Many dismissed the theory as impossible, yet the timing was too precise to ignore. Every announcement led to another strange adjustment. When telescopes tracked its light curves, its brightness changed. When observatories studied its orbit, it drifted slightly out of position. And when scientists tried to simulate its behavior, it did something new, as if staying one step ahead. People began calling it the object that listens back. Some compared it to a mirror reflecting not light, but attention. To others, it felt like a conversation without words, one that blurred the line between science and the unknown. The data only deepened the mystery. Spectral readings revealed faint signs of molecular shifts, as though a coded response were hidden in its chemistry. Even NASA admitted that no natural process could explain such precision. If it was merely a comet, it was the most intelligent comet ever discovered. And if it wasn't, then the question became much larger. What kind of intelligence hides inside something that looks like ice and dust, yet changes its own chemistry in real time? Was it a machine, a probe, or something entirely beyond our understanding of life? The more we looked, the more it looked back. For the first time, humanity began to wonder if we weren't studying 3 Atlas at all. Perhaps it was studying us. If it truly was responding to our attention, what would happen the next time we tried to get closer? When scientists first examined 3 Atlas's chemical composition, they expected the usual mix found in comets: frozen gases, bits of rock, and traces of metal, but what they discovered left them speechless. Data from the Very Large Telescope in Chile and the Gemini South Observatory revealed something that shouldn't exist in nature. The object was rich in nickel, yet showed no trace of iron. To non-astronomers, that might not sound unusual, but to scientists, it was a glaring red flag. Nickel and iron are born together inside the violent cores of dying stars, and every meteor, asteroid, and comet ever studied in our solar system contains both. Initially, researchers assumed their instruments were malfunctioning. They reran the tests repeatedly, using different methods to analyze the spectral lines of light bouncing off 3 Atlas, but the results were always the same: strong, clear emission lines for nickel and a complete absence of iron. It made no sense. Some suggested it could be explained by a rare chemical reaction, perhaps the formation of compounds like nickel tetracarbonyl that evaporated into space before iron could appear, but the pattern didn't fit. There was too much nickel, evenly distributed, and no sign of random scattering. It looked processed, almost refined. That single detail changed everything. If nickel was being separated from iron, it could mean that the object wasn't formed by nature, but built by design. It was a terrifying thought, one that reminded many of a theory proposed years earlier by Harvard physicist Avi Loeb, who suggested that interstellar objects might be technological relics, fragments of advanced civilizations scattered across the galaxy. Could 3 Atlas be one of them? The light reflecting off its surface behaved like polished metal, producing a faint glow reminiscent of an engine under pressure. The more telescopes observed it, the more consistent that glow became, as though its structure was stable, not chaotic like a comet's dust. If that was true, then 3 Atlas wasn't merely reacting to us. It might be built to adapt. Scientists began to debate whether it could be using a form of selective chemistry, filtering certain elements for energy or communication. Others proposed it might contain materials capable of self-repair, similar to how living tissue heals itself. Whatever it was, one fact became undeniable: no natural object should be able to manipulate its own composition with such precision. If 3 Atlas was indeed refining metals, that meant there was heat, structure, and possibly control. And if there was control, then something or someone might be operating it. So, if this strange object can alter the elements within itself, what kind of power could be hiding deep within its core? When a comet approaches the sun, it normally releases frozen gas and dust that trail behind it like a glowing ribbon of light. But 3 Atlas didn't follow that rule. Instead of forming a tail that stretched away from the sun, it did the opposite. Its tail pointed directly toward it. The discovery began with a series of coordinated observations between NASA's Hubble telescope and the James Webb Space Telescope. At first, the team believed they had made an error in measurement or alignment, perhaps a trick of perspective, but when data from ground-based telescopes in Chile and Hawaii arrived, the same strange structure appeared again. The antitail was real, a bright jet of dust and gas streaming sunward, something no natural comet should ever do. To achieve that, 3 Atlas would have to generate energy from within, enough to push against the relentless stream of solar wind power, far beyond what sunlight or sublimating ice could produce. It was as if something deep inside was driving it. Soon after NASA confirmed the antitail, the James Webb Telescope detected large bursts of water vapor erupting from the object's surface. The data showed a dramatic shift in its chemistry. The ratio of carbon dioxide to water had dropped from 7.6 to 1 to nearly equal levels, as if the object had suddenly altered the way it vented material. That made no sense. At over 200 million miles from the sun, it was far too cold for ice to melt, and yet 3 Atlas appeared to be creating water in real time. One theory suggested it was releasing vapor to cool itself as it neared solar radiation. Another, more radical theory proposed that the object might contain an internal system capable of heating, reacting, and stabilizing its own core. If that were true, then 3 Atlas wasn't a simple frozen rock at all, but a machine, one adjusting its own chemistry to survive. As data accumulated, the antitail and the surge of water vapor began to appear connected. The antitail could be a controlled vent, pushing material outward to regulate temperature or even maneuver, while the water emissions acted as balance or camouflage, making it resemble an ordinary comet to anyone watching from Earth. Each reaction seemed deliberate, perfectly timed, almost strategic, as though 3 Atlas knew it was being studied and wanted to appear harmless. When the European Space Agency's Mars Express captured faint reflections from the antitail, scientists noticed a rhythm in its light pattern. Every 11 hours, the jet's brightness pulsed, matching the object's rotation period. It was too perfect to be random. If those pulses were controlled, they could represent self-regulation, a method for managing power, motion, or even communication. What had started as an astronomical curiosity was now a puzzle that defied the boundaries of science itself. No natural process could explain how something could push against the sun's force while producing water in the freezing dark of space. It seemed aware of its surroundings, intelligent in design, deliberate in action. If 3 Atlas truly understood how to harness solar energy to move and reshape itself, perhaps it wasn't just reacting to physics at all, perhaps it was responding to us. When NASA's research reached its limits, they turned to a different kind of intelligence, artificial. If human eyes couldn't see the pattern, maybe machines could. At the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, engineers fed every available dataset into one of Earth's most advanced systems, Grok, Elon Musk's powerful AI trained to recognize hidden signals buried in noise. For weeks, Grok analyzed thousands of hours of spectral readings from telescopes worldwide. At first, nothing unusual appeared. The outputs looked like typical cometary emissions of gas, dust, and vapor. Then Grok noticed something strange. Inside the chemical chaos was rhythm. The AI detected a continuous stream of hydrogen cyanide gas escaping at about 20 grams per second. Not remarkable on its own, until it began pulsing in a pattern. Short, long, short, repeating perfectly, over and over. Grok mapped the sequence and found it wasn't random at all. The pulses formed a structured modulation, eerily similar to Morse code. Initially, scientists suspected a system glitch, but cross-checks confirmed the same pattern across multiple observatories. Even more astonishing, the pulses intensified each time NASA released updates about the object's composition, as if 3 Atlas was reading our reports and sending a reply, not in sound, but in molecules. Grok categorized the signal as temporal modulation, a way of encoding data through time instead of radio frequency, the very same technique scientists use on Earth to prove intelligent origin. Only this time, it wasn't humanity that had initiated the conversation. If the data was correct, 3 Atlas was communicating by turning gas emissions on and off with mechanical precision. To test the idea, Grok translated the sequence into binary. The decoded result sent chills through NASA's control room. 2 words, get ready. The message spread rapidly across the agency's internal network, stirring equal parts wonder and fear. If this truly was a message, it meant the object wasn't just alive in some way, it was aware. Debate raged over its meaning. Some believed it was a greeting, a simple acknowledgement of our observation. Others feared it was a